This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com, and I am live here with a daily news update for everyone. The WWE Backstage first advertised episode with CM Punk got a 0.10 rating with 180,000 viewers, so we knew it was going to get a boost in ratings from the 100,000 viewers it had last week, scoring 180,000 viewers this week. I believe it was Fox. They did post the clip of CM Punk on the show, and I did watch it, and he basically just responded to some tweets from Seth Rollins saying that Seth shouldn't tweet anymore, and they also showed a bunch of WWE fans saying they would like to see Punk back in the ring. Alicia Fox has revealed that she's been in recovery and is a few months sober from alcohol. Vice put out an article that shows the NXT practicing their NXT UK TV taping matches over the weekend. I guess WWE live streamed by accident footage of all the talent practicing their matches. As has been reported, NXT fully practices their matches move for move, which really sucks in my opinion. When wrestling was at its best, it was spur of the moment. You could never imagine Harley Race practicing his matches, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. Could you imagine the Road Warriors practicing their matches? It's one of the reasons why wrestling sucks these days. Tessa Blanchard got engaged to Daga, whoever that is. I assume it's a wrestler. Ben Askren, the MMA fighter who I have interviewed, there's an interview with him here on the Hannibal TV, has announced his retirement. Nick Aldis. The big news of today, of course, is Jim Cornette resigning. And Nick Aldis, the NWA champion, who everybody knows, I publicly said over and over again, he's a shitty champion. That's why their viewership has been going down week after week, in my opinion. I have nothing against Billy Corgan. So basically, he put out a statement regarding Jim Cornette's offensive comment, saying, quote, "This is in no way speaking on behalf of the NWA. I am absolutely speaking for myself. I thought the comment was in poor taste and unnecessary. I totally understand why it caused many to be upset. It was a lack of judgment or sensitivity. I've worked really hard along with many others on this team to make this brand mean something again. And this is not how I want the NWA to be trending. But let me tell you something, Nick Aldis. It's actually ultimately the NWA's fault that this is trending right now, because the recording dates of those episodes of NWA Power was September 30th and October 1st. That was not live stream commentary. That commentary was done months ago. So they could have edited it out. It was a sloppy production job by the NWA. Either that, or they didn't notice, or they didn't find offensive what Jim Cornette said themselves, and they're only responding to it now that the public has been upset over those comments from Jim Cornette. Yes, he said it, but it was not live. NWA could have easily avoided this by editing it out and just simply telling Jim Cornette, who is very valuable in my opinion to the NWA, hey, watch your language on this. We had to cut this part out, and it would have been over. But the sloppy editing job on their part ruined all of this. So a couple questions. There's a lot of people on here. Does Chris Jericho get to use swear words in AEW? Tracy Cockney says, I have not seen any AEW past the first hour of the first episode, but I do understand the language is more foul language on AEW. I've heard people commenting that they don't feel comfortable with young kids watching it for that reason. Steven Spears says Cornette made the same comment on a WWE TV taping in March '95 when talking about Lawrence Taylor. What About says they didn't edit it out because they didn't find it offensive when speaking of the NWA not editing out Jim Cornette's comments, which that's what I don't agree with. They had plenty, they're acting like the innocent ones here, but they easily could have edited that out. Okay, Great North Wrestling has some matches that have up to 4 million views. I think the NWA's YouTube channel has a total of 9 million views. So Great North Wrestling's, the Hannibal TV YouTube channel has 90 million views. So quite a lot more than NWA. NWA is backed by a multimillionaire Billy Corgan. So, of course, they have access to better producers, but I'm just an amateur producer, but I edit all the Great North Wrestling matches. And I scan the commentary before I put anything out. So I can only imagine the NWA would do that too. Is Vince Russo right about WWE and AEW working together? I believe they did have some working agreements when they were starting this, but now that they're head to head on Wednesday nights, it doesn't appear they're working together on anything. But initially, there was some working agreements as far as StarCast and so forth went, but definitely they're enemies now. And here's something else interesting. If any of you guys haven't seen it, I interviewed WWE Hall of Famer, the Road Dogg Jesse James, Brian Armstrong last weekend in Albany, New York. And I asked him if they were going to put more main roster guys on NXT's Wednesday night show to compete with AEW to help end this 7-0 streak that AEW's on. And he said, no, they're going to continue the gradual, slow and steady climb. But apparently on tonight's NXT, maybe he got the idea from talking to me, but it's just common sense. They're going to have lots of WWE main roster stars on NXT. So it's going to look bad if NXT doesn't win tonight, supposedly, with all the main roster stars that they're stacking this show with. I'll answer one more question here. NWO for Life says, what's up, bro? Cornette getting fired is BS. Mala Face says, I turned onto AEW, saw Battle Royal, and Sonny Kiss was just standing in the ring like a deer in the headlights. I turned it off. Oh, and by the way, PCW Ultra, January 10th, the Hannibal TV is going to be there in LA covering the show. I'm going to try and get an interview with Chris Masters while I'm in LA and some other stars. And there is going to be the Blood Hunter from Great North Wrestling Sabu on that PCW Ultra show in California. And the Blood Hunter is also wrestling Juventud Guerrera December the 6th in Ottawa. And the Blood Hunter finally is teaming with Too Cold Scorpio to take on the Faces of Fear, Hakuin and Barbarian, February the 29th in Smith Falls, Ontario, just outside of Ottawa, less than an hour from Cornwall, Ontario, less than an hour from Kingston, Ontario. Information on Great North Wrestling events is at thehannibaltv.com. Devious says, is there a relationship with MLW and PCW? I noticed they use a lot of the same talent. Well, the Sheik works for MLW and runs PCW. He just re-signed with MLW. So yes, they use a lot of PCW talent in MLW. They're also using Savio Vega in MLW now, which is the reason why it's Too Cold Scorpio now on the Great North Wrestling February 29th event, replacing Savio, because he has to do his MLW match because he's contracted with MLW. Teddy Hart, what happened? Teddy Hart is still under contract with MLW. I talked to him yesterday. He is still under contract. Yeah, so that's all for today. Thanks for all the questions. I got to go to the gym.